Welcome to Love Amanda. I'm Amanda Bertoncini, and I'm thrilled to talk all things love with my beautiful guest, Brittany Mills. Welcome to the podcast and welcome home.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's nice to be home. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, I know you're a Columbia, South Carolina resident. You went to USC, is that right?
Yes, I did. So I went to USC and I studied early education. And, I started that for a year and I was like, let's switch it up a little bit. So got out of that very quickly. But yeah, went to the University of South Carolina. And even though with the football team, still a diehard USC fan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When I moved here, I realized the Gamecocks versus Clemson is very intense. You have to pick a side.
Exactly. Yeah. But diehard USC fan.
Okay. So what was it like going to school at USC?
Honestly, it was really nice because one, I was at home, and funny enough, I actually went to the University of South Carolina upstate my freshman year of college. And then I was like, I miss home. So I wanted to come back and I just stayed at home. I didn't necessarily live on campus. I was like, you know what? I could save money. And that was kind of a trick of mine. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And everybody's going to be like, borrowing $1 here, spending like 50 cents there. And I was like, no, I'm going to save my money and stay home. But no, USC was great. And especially too, like being able to see everybody new come into town and be like, oh, well, I can show you around because this is home for me. So it was really nice.
And it's such a big school. So compared to, I went to school in New York City, so I never got that big school feel. So what was that like, making friends or?
Yeah, honestly, the best way that I can explain it is, well, one, I did in fact join a sorority. I was actually an Alpha Chi Omega. And, a lot of gals typically have like a lot of success stories with like their sororities. But at some point I was like, ugh, everybody's like cliquey, I stayed in it until my junior year. And then after my junior year, I was like, okay, I'm not going to, the typical like pay for your friends quote that everyone says. Although I thoroughly enjoyed the sorority and I was actually quite involved. I was like, I am really, really big on loyalty in friendships. And in fact, like, of course, when we talk about dating later, I always say that, a man can do wrong and whatever, and they can be forgiven. But when it comes to me and my friends, I'm like, absolutely not. And all of my friends would tell you that, actually. They're like, no, she walks the chalk line with a friendship and no questions asked. So, I think going through that and with different girls being in, different cliques and like learning themselves and honestly growing up, I kind of like had surpassed that. And I was like, no, I know what I want out of a friendship. And like, that's what it is. So I feel like with making friendships at a big school, just like know yourself first and know what you want.
Yeah.
As of course with dating as well. But yeah, I would give that advice.
That's great advice. And I love that you're that type of girl. I've always been like that too, very supportive, don't mess with my friends. And we all need someone like that in our corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Was it hard being from a small town? Because I know what that feeling is like now.
Yeah.
I can't imagine growing up and
yeah, exactly. Whenever I think about Columbia, I don't necessarily I would say identify it as a small town more so. And I think the influence of the rest of my family and their small town upbringing is so vastly different that like Columbia felt like a huge city. In fact, all of my family on my mom's side, they would call us city slickers. If I'm being transparent. And it was like we were the prim and proper compared to my mom's rest of the family because they grew up in a small town called Ruby, South Carolina. And it has no stoplights still to this day.
Oh, wow.
Just stop signs. That's how small it is. And so when I was younger, for Christmas, Thanksgiving, summer break, I would grow up like going to rodeos and like watching bull riding and like horseback and like literally like lassoing goats. Okay. Like I have country roots.
Wow.
So no, Columbia to me, definitely not small town. I know small town and it's not Columbia.
I always dreamed of being like that.
Yeah,
I always
yeah.
wanted to be that person, like the Hallmark channels. I'm always the city girl coming into this small town. I always wanted to be from the small town.
Yeah. I definitely can say I'm quite versatile and a little diverse. So, but it's all, I give credit to my family.
Yeah, it's the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
It really is.
Exactly.
Now, obviously the pageant life is very big here.
Yes.
Is that something that you got involved in?
Yeah, so I sometimes I claim it, sometimes I don't.
Okay.
But today I guess I'll claim
Do you want to
it.
claim it? Okay.
So yeah, I just did around like 5 pageants. It was very casual, nothing crazy. Once again, I think that I know myself, and at the time knew myself enough where I was like, yeah, a clique and like pageantry, like sometimes most gals can like dip into that. And I was like, yeah, it's not for me. And it's funny because my mom and I always talk about like if I was as vocal then as I am now, she's like, Brittany, you probably, Lord have mercy, like you would have been like in ISS every single day of school. And I'm like, well, I mean, she's like, thank God. Like God knew what he was doing, like keeping you quiet until you reach college. And I was like, well, anyways. But back to pageantry. I was just like, okay, I love it, but also too, like I see girls and then you get the money, you get like literally extra hair, you get the lashes, you get the glam, and it's like it feeds into like people's head. And I'm like, yeah, y'all need to humble yourself a little bit.
Wow. I love how you had that
in
you at that age to even say, I that's not me. And I'm never going to try and be like that.
Exactly. And of course, like, as you know, we have mutual connections with like Amanda, for instance. I think that she's quite literally the salt of the earth. And like, if every woman could be so humble, so genuine, so sweet, so nice, and, embody that on and off stage, I think that would just be fantastic, of course, but we're not all that lucky.
Yeah, not everyone is like that.
Yeah,
She's
right.
Such a sweetheart.
Exactly. But yeah, I did 5 pageants. I started my my 8th grade year in middle school. We just did like our school pageants. Then I got to high school. I did Miss Freshman. I actually won Miss Freshman, funny enough. And then I did like here and there, like small pageants with our other mutual connection, Cyrus. And he would put on like shamrock pageants for St. Patrick's Day and then Christmas pageants. Oh, really? And then my senior year rolled around and I did Miss Bearcat again and won Miss Senior and Miss Congeniality.
Wow.
And then my freshman year going back, I did one called Little Miss South Carolina. And that one is... oh gosh, that's like toddlers and tiaras almost of the South. So yeah, it was definitely a journey, but then quickly got out of it. And granted, I have stayed in the pageant industry. So I've been doing hair and makeup for weddings, pageants, proms, photo shoots, runways, kind of whatever you want to do your hair and makeup for, podcasts. And January will mark 9 years. So...
wow. Yeah. So look at what you took from that because listen, if you can get the perfect makeup for stage, then you could do anything.
Yeah. That's very true. And a lot of pageants here recently, and even more so back then as well, they're like, some of them, they say you have to do your hair and makeup on your own. So it's nice because I actually do lessons on how to do your hair and how to do your makeup. So girls aren't just kind of going in blindsided being like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh, I love that. And because you've been in that position, it's coming from you is perfect.
Yeah. It's definitely nice. And I've judged very, very few. So I feel like I can't even use this as a substantial, claim, but judge pageants and you kind of get the feel and the look of everything. And just being in the industry for so long, you see this headshot, you see that headshot, you see this type of photography for the headshot. So you definitely learn a lot, and just, of course, too, hearing conversations. So I think, it's like an encyclopedia for pageantry.
Yeah. And I bet you also want to try and look different because they can all look the same. And so, that is so exciting. So what is the name of of your business?
Yeah, it's Beauty by B.
Okay. I love
And
that.
also on Instagram as well. And I really think that your network is your net worth for sure. And so definitely word of mouth has certainly, kept me going. And of course, with social media and efforts of trying to push out my business, that also helps. But yeah, it's Beauty by B.
Wow, I can't wait for you to do my makeup.
Yeah,
one day.
exactly. I'm happy to do it anytime.
I'm gonna take it off for you.
Right.
Oh wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. I just also want to tap back into the early days. So, growing up here in South Carolina, I know they call it the Bible Belt. So, what was faith like to you growing up? Did you always have strong values in faith, or is that something as you got older you found more within yourself?
Yeah, so being from the South, it's certainly the Bible Belt. I feel like it's kind of embedded in all of our roots for sure. I grew up going to church. My Nana and my Papa every single Sunday, like that's where you were at. My aunt, my uncle, my mom, it was just what we did. And very much so, like even my friends, like when I would go over to their house, it's like you spend the night with them Saturday and you wake up and go to church on Sunday morning. So it was just what we did. And then of course I learned about Jesus. And then in middle school, I was actually baptized in the ocean on my account. Of course, when I'm young, my mom and my dad, they got me baptized, but you're a baby, you don't know what's going on. So in middle school, I was actually in Myrtle Beach with my church for like a church camp, decided to get baptized, and then, continued throughout my faith. Of course, school got busy. I was a cheerleader. I also danced for 14 years. So it was like my life was quite busy. And then when things pick up, unfortunately, that's like the first thing that typically gets dropped. But yeah, I've always known Jesus and had a relationship with him. So I'm thankful for that. But of course, there's times where you kind of veer off and you have to get back on the right track. But growing up, I think that I have to give it to my mom of like instilling that in me and teaching me about him and, putting a lot of value around church and a relationship with Christ. So I have to give like the claps to her and my family for sure. But as an adult, I think now I'm at the point of I feel good going to church, and it's like I'm eager to go. And I think being a young child, especially too, like I even talk with my friends about this, it's like you're a young child and this is what your parents do. And you don't necessarily understand it. But now as an adult, I'm like, okay, so like I said, I'm from Columbia, but I live in Charlotte now, and I will have clients here on the weekends, and I'm like, okay, well, Saturday night, like I'm driving back home because I want to go to church on Sunday. And I think that, and especially my mom hearing me say that, it makes her proud, but also too, it's like, no, I love being in that atmosphere. And that feeling of honestly the Holy Spirit being like, yeah, girl, you're in the right spot. I'm like, ooh, I love being here. So yeah.
I love that so much. I love that you obviously had a wonderful family, your mom bringing you up in that way, but also to find that, be baptized on your own account and to choose to leave parties early on Saturday nights so you can go to church Sunday. And I think that is just such a wonderful feeling. And you are such a role model for women for sure.
Thank you.
Do you feel, now this question is interesting, do you feel that guys ever exaggerated their faith to try and pursue you?
That's round of applause for your question.
Because I may or may not feel that way.
No, round of applause for your question. Thank you. Sure. 110%.
Oh gosh, 100. I was hoping you weren't going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And it's actually so unfortunate. And I think too, and I think about this often, and I mean, this is going to lead us in 17 different routes, honestly.
I know.
And I'm a talker, so I can talk, to a wall. And I always pick at myself. I'm like, well, you technically did, Brittany. But anywho, different story for a different day. But yes, I definitely feel that like the faith and their walk with Christ has been exaggerated they're like, oh, like I want her, so I'm going to, kind of feed into that. And it's really, really unfortunate because it's like, just be honest. And I know this is crazy to say, but like it's hard sometimes just to be honest. We think so, I guess, differently about people when it's like they're, you know, it's like a disappointment.
Yeah.
But that's just reality. And like, it's okay. Like, you'll find your person. Of course, like, I would love for everybody to be so like deeply embedded in their faith, but that's just not the case. But yeah, it's kind of sad because I think we're at a time, and especially with our generation and men, they're, sorry to whoever watches this, but decently soft.
Yeah.
They're taking the back burner and kind of taking the back seat of like, oh, you know, it'll be figured out, whatever. And like the leadership and also the confidence in a man is very slim. And especially too, as a woman of God and like something that I want, it's like, no, I want you to lead, like make the decisions for God's sakes, you know?
Yes.
And it's like, oh, well, we want you to be happy. And like, well, of course. But like, if you make the right decision, sure, we're going to be happy. Like, not to be like nitpicky, but like, you know, but I always say like, put your 2 feet up under you and like take a step forward, like go do it. And it drives me nuts because all of these men are just like lollygagging everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, you drive me nuts.
Yeah.
But I can say, I've actually been told I can demasculate men sometimes. So once again, I said this road can lead us to many different routes. So,
well, yeah, but you led us to something that I'm definitely going through where, yeah, I could be a strong, independent woman, but I'm seeking a man to lead. I want a man to lead, also lead me in my faith. And, that's definitely been hard. I've also found that people try and exaggerate their faith to, you know, go on a date with you. And then you realize pretty soon, you know, it doesn't take long. But just that old school value, you know,
exactly.
would be appreciated.
Just a little bit, you know? And I think it even comes down to like being courted. Like, I'm very adamant. I'm like, you got to open the door. I'm sorry. I don't care if you think it's old school. I don't care if you don't like it.
Of course.
Like, open the door for God's sake.
Of course. What about like asking, you know, not asking my mom or dad maybe, but I don't know, just that courting, picking up a phone, asking a few days prior, hey, what are you doing on Friday? You know, things like that.
Just plan a little bit.
Yes. So, yeah, I feel like our culture I think it's through social media, a lot of other things as well, maybe make men feel like they don't have to try as hard.
Yeah. And it's like, I wish that we knew kind of the answer to it. Maybe it is social media. Maybe, I mean, who knows at this point? Because I guess, you know, the For You pages are all, we find what we see and like search for all of that good stuff. But every single time that I'm looking, it's like, I want this out of a man. I want that out of a man. I'm like, okay, y'all are seeing what we want.
Yeah.
How are you confused? But yeah, you know, I think a lot of women who have men who are those leaders who, you know, do kind of take care of their family, in a sense of emotionally, spiritually, financially, are very appreciated. And it's like, I want to kind of like scream from the rooftops, like, you're doing great. And which on the other hand, I definitely think that a lot of times, of course, I just kind of like crapped on men, but that's the new norm. And it's like, okay, we're so underappreciated that like we are going to take the back seat, which is actually really sad as well. So it's kind of like, you know, a teeter-totter, like happy medium, all of that good stuff. But yeah, definitely the strong, independent women need that like strong leader that kind of like says, hey, how about you just sit right here? I
was going to get back into Love is Blind.
Yeah.
Now, you were only 25, right, when you went on the show?
Yeah. Funny enough, was I 25 or 24?
I think I'm like thinking 25.
Well, actually,
so when you went on, it was
when
probably
I
24.
filmed, because I filmed March of 23. So I was actually 24 when I filmed, but I was 25 when it released because it released in February of 24. So technically, while filming, I was 24 years old.
Now that's young. So
Super young.
what did love look like up until that point?
Super young. So yeah, being 24 and being on a reality TV show, I went in, and when I got approached, I was like, okay, one, what is this? And they were like, excuse me, you don't know what Love is Blind is? And I was like, I'm so sorry. I just work literally 7 days a week, so I never watch TV. Okay, give me a break. Sorry, I'm an independent, strong, working woman.
Wow,
but anyways, but yeah, they reached out, and I was like, okay, you know, at the time I was single, and I was like, I had already, unfortunately, been through, you know, the ringer with dating. And I was like, I'm taking this opportunity. Like, the door, I am a true believer, like, God wouldn't put doors in front of you that you're not supposed to open, whether that is a lesson that you need to learn, which could result in something like hard, or you are going to come out on the other side and it be sunshines, miracles, and rainbows. But I feel like every door is always very, very intentional.
I want to take a second to talk about a family I genuinely love. BLB Homes, their slogan, Your Home Reimagined. And that's exactly what they do. They've been family owned and operated since 2008. Byron is a licensed general contractor, Kimberly is the design coordinator, and Chris is the project manager. This team truly personalizes every project and stops at nothing to make sure it is your dream home. They also run a clean, professional job site, which really matters, and they're incredibly active in our community. I'd recommend them to my own family. And yes, they can even give you that big HGTV style reveal. Plus, Kimberly is also a realtor with Fathom Realty and can help you find that fixer-upper. And then BLB Homes can turn it into your dream home. Oh, and consultations are totally free. To learn more, just head to blbhomessc.com and let them know that Amanda sent you.
And this was something that, like, I really, really felt like was God being like, I need you to open this door. So I went and I was like, yeah, like, I'm the youngest girl here, myself and one of my bestest friends now, Mackenzie. We were 24 years old filming. And being in that situation, it's like, okay, we're talking about marriage in 3 weeks. All of that to say, this goes really, really back to like my childhood and like who I am and what I've always wanted. I've always wanted marriage. I've always wanted like the happy love, the deep love, like the connection, and a long lasting marriage. Unfortunately for myself, my father passed when I was 5. Prior to his passing, my dad and mom's relationship was strong. However, he was an alcoholic, so that definitely had a damper on their marriage.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, I see people getting married, but I see failure. And then after my father passed, my mom gets remarried to my stepdad, and they're happy. And then, crap hits the fan. So once again, I see the marriage, but I see failure. And it's like I've always craved as a young girl from the age of 5 all the way up till now. It's like, yes, I want marriage, but like I want healthy love, unconditional compassion, like all of that stuff. So very early on, even in high school with my high school boyfriend, I was like, yeah, like we're going to get married. And I remember, like no other, I was actually at our beach house one summer and my boyfriend was not with me, and I was talking to like my mom's friends, and it was right before I was going to college, and they were like, Brittany, you're going to go to college, you're going to meet all these guys, y'all are going to break up. And it made me livid. When I tell you livid, I was like, oh my gosh, like you're wishing failure upon me, like all of these things. And of course, like being a teenage hormonal girl, I'm like, don't say that to me. And I'm just like getting pissed at this point.
Yeah.
And of course, we broke up, obviously. But we dated for 3.5 years. And then I was like, yeah, like this isn't my husband, and for, several reasons, whatever. But I was like, I just want marriage so bad. And so being on the show, I was like, I know what I want. And of course, like God opening that door for me, I was like, I'm here with intention. And sure, I'm young, but also too, I understand like what I want and what I need to an extent, being 24 years old, knowing what I need. And I know, honestly, that's unconditional love and also a man of God. And that was just what I was just like, honestly, so direct with, that I was like, okay, if I've got those two things, then everything else can kind of work out.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
story. And I've been someone that always wanted to get married also, but you had the right intentions. And so what did happen on Love is Blind is you did have a connection with someone, but later on you didn't actually have that when you were living together.
Yeah.
So, but he was a great man, great man of faith, Ken. I
sure.
loved you two together for sure. I thought you two were adorable, but you couldn't fake the connection that you ultimately had.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, exactly. And like I've said, and I mean, I've went on several different podcasts, and he really is a wonderful guy. He really, really is. But I think that there was a disconnect from him being inside of the pods opposed to outside. He didn't necessarily know, like, the cameras, I think, were a lot for him, and just like talking through things. I definitely think that he was like, okay, like this is just too much, it's stressing me out, like respectfully kind of getting on his nerves. And I was like, oh, well, I've been around this since I've been like, I started dancing when I was 2. And I was like, I've been on a stage, I've seen bright lights, I've had a camera in my face all my life. I'm like, yeah, this is like second nature to me. It's like, and at one point I was like, get over it. Like, get it together.
Wow.
I'm like, you signed up for the show. Like, what did you expect? But like, with all due respect, like he really is. He's a wonderful man. And like, I think that he definitely knew what he wanted. And that's like a woman of God and all of that. But I think on the outside of the pods, like there was just a huge disconnect between us two. And of course, too, people definitely didn't understand my stance. They thought that it was like him breaking up with me, when in reality I was like,
oh, really?
Yeah. And that's always that's always the response I get. It's like, oh wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, silly goose. I was on this side, and I was like, look, like respectfully, and I know this sounds so shallow and so awful, but I am not physically attracted to you.
Yeah. I saw that.
But neither here nor there. People were like, dang you, Ken, and like we're so aggressive towards him. And I'm like, y'all, like I don't want to throw myself under the bus, but I kind of do need y'all to realize that like it was me that called it all off. But it's TV. You get what you get.
Oh yeah.
You get what you don't. So, but yeah, I was like, I can just tell this isn't my person, and on I went.
And there was so much that we probably didn't see. We
sure.
rarely saw you guys interacting once you lived together. So,
yeah. That we film so much. I can't remember exactly the number, but it's like 30,000 hours of film. And Netflix only, you have to buy it. Netflix only buys 12 hours of Love is Blind film.
That's how it works.
Yes. So they can't just put everything. Think about 30,000 hours down to 12. Like, you think about, so much information is missed. And it's like you kind of have to just pick it up where you can. But yeah, it's a lot of things definitely were missed. And honestly, we had the funnest times together. Like, and it was so unfortunate because it was always when like the cameras weren't on us, which kind of goes towards him not liking the cameras.
Right. That's when he opened up.
Exactly.
When they left.
Right. But when we were on like the honeymoon, we would stay up literally till the sun was coming up. Yes. And we would just cackle and laugh and like, it was like one of the best times. It was so fun, but it was because I felt like our friendship was so strong that we were just like, I don't know, like he was just like my guy, you know? And we were able, like I was able to like be myself in all forms. But I think of course too, like as a woman, when she's like, okay, I'm not physically attracted to this guy, respectfully, I'm not trying to impress him. Like I can do and go and do whatever. Right. And like be like, not one of the guys, but just like joke around and whatnot. But honestly, it was so fun. But I was like, dang, like they're missing all of this.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Even the conversations in the pods, I'm sure, was cut short. Just all of that.
Exactly.
Wow, interesting. Well, I'm going to switch it up just really quick, and we're going to play a little game.
Please. I love a game.
Now, would you rather get ghosted or get brutally honest rejection? And do you ghost first thing?
I would like to say that I don't ghost. I really don't. And like going back on situations, I'm pretty confident 99.9% like no. Because reason being is I cannot stand being ignored. Oh my days.
Okay.
I cannot stand it. So I would like to think that I try to give that respect to someone else. I would probably say option B, get brutal, honest feedback.
Yeah.
Of course, my feelings might get hurt a little bit, but in full transparency, like I said earlier, my mom being like, okay, thank God you weren't like so blunt back in the day when you were in high school. Cause like, Lord of mercy, I would have, anywho. I now am like very, very honest, and she'll tell you, she's like, can you just tell me in a nicer way?
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, whatever. But like, I need you to know the truth. And if I teeter-totter and like sugarcoat it, you might misunderstand me.
Yeah.
So,
and you have a cute Southern voice, so I can see you giving it hard, but it sounds nice.
Right. So I think option B.
That brutal honest.
I've been on the other side of not knowing answers, and it definitely drove me insane. Yeah, it definitely drove me insane. So I'm going to say option B for sure.
Yeah, I'm not much of a ghoster either. And I would love you just tell me to my face. Maybe it's the New Yorker in me. Just
for sure.
Tell it to my face. For sure. And I don't even know how ghosting became a thing. When did that even start?
But you know what? Respectfully, when people lost respect. So that's probably where it came from.
Right. I know. Well, yeah, I love that. So here's another. Talk for weeks or meet up right away? So do you want to get to know someone, or are you just, let's meet up, so excited just to meet each other?
This is me calling myself out, and a lot of people would probably back me up on this. I am almost to a fault a chronically move faster.
Ooh, I didn't think you were going to say that.
Yeah. So I would probably say option A of just like, let's meet up. I think that was option A, right?
Yeah, I love the teacher in you because you're giving it option A.
Exactly. I'm like option 1, option A. So yes, it's embedded in me. But yeah, I would definitely probably say just meet up and get it over with.
Okay.
Yeah. However, I was actually just talking to one of my really good friends about this, that I want to try and modify, like taking things slow and like not pulling back, but like, just taking some time. But it's so embedded in me that I'm like, this is what I do. So yeah, I got to answer honestly. I would say go on a date. Hurry up.
I could see that too. It's almost like, let me rip the Band-Aid off and see if it's a yes or a no. I need to know before we continue talking and I tell you what my dog's name is and this and that,
And I feel like, as probably as evident as it is, I can talk for days and I can talk about anything. And I feel like that sometimes gets me in trouble. Oh. In a sense of like leading people on, like, okay, I'm giving you my time, I'm giving you my energy, I'm giving you my attention. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't mean I like you.
Oh
what
gosh.
do you mean?
Me too. People think I'm like flirting with them all the time. Like, no.
Yes. And like,
I'm just curious.
Exactly. Full honesty, I am a flirtatious person.
Yeah.
110%. And so, like I said, I can really just talk about anything and everything. But I need to like be in person and see, I'm like, okay, am I going to vibe with this person respectfully? Am I physically attracted to you? Because we know my past.
We have to have that.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, I would definitely go that way.
Okay. Share passwords, location, or stay private.
Ooh.
Once you get
Well, I'm currently
situation
sharing a location and have a location. So.
Really?
Yes.
Whoa. Okay, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Well,
with one person?
With one person. Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal. It's actually kind of wild to think about.
Wow.
So, but I can say the password piece. Honestly, you can have my passwords. I could care less. But out of respect for the other party, I feel like I would be like, no, like you keep your password. From past experiences, I've always had locations, and I've always been like super open, but I've also been on the other side of being mistreated in the infidelity and like all of that good stuff. Or bad stuff, I say, you know? So it's like I have had to learn, like, okay, because I don't have this or because I don't know this, I have to at least first put my trust in the other person.
Okay.
I guess if and when, and I say when, unfortunately, but like if and when something happens, then I can remove that trust.
Oh, wow.
You know?
That makes sense.
Yeah. But and my mom's always told me, and she's raised me this way, if you don't have trust, you have nothing. And I think communication and trust go hand in hand. I don't feel like one is over the other. Yeah. I think they're like at the top, at the same way, same value, everything. But yeah, trust is definitely super big. But yeah, I'm definitely a location person for sure.
Wow. Do you have locations of your friends too? Are you that type of girl?
Yeah. And I think that truth be told, I move so much, as in like I'm here one day, I'm there the other. And like everyone says that I do the most random things. And like, for example, my friends and I, Jess, me, Mackenzie, and Laura, as we all know.
My favorite.
Right. The favorite crew. We were all texting one day and Jess had messaged us like, hey, do you want to go to this concert? And I was like, oh, dang, that's when I'm in Kenya. And they were like, Brittany, I swear, you are just so randomly doing. Yeah. Wow. Oh, yeah. I casually can't do this. I'm going to be in Kenya. And I'm like, well,
oh, wow.
I'm a little adventurous.
I love that about you. So, yeah, they're like, oh, here she is in Kenya again.
So I can say a lot of people do look at my location and be like, oh, where is she at today?
Wow. Location's been something that I just had traumatic experiences with a partner, and I'm just so scared to share things like that again because I won't say who, but he would just show up places. Yeah. So, yeah, that's
and I feel like it's about. You know, and to your point, right? Like you're like, okay, I shared my location with someone and I'm going to use the word crazy here. And he was just being like kind of crazy and showed up, you know? However, on the other hand, I've had someone's location, and this guy I was actually dating at this point for like 2.5 years or 2.5, 3 years at this point. He had shared his location. I had it, and he was at another girl's house. So respectfully, I definitely showed up. 110% called him and it was like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I'm outside.
Whoa, there's so many things here. So you called and gave the respect. You didn't just
110%. Did I bang on the door? No. Did my intrusive thoughts and my body want to do that? 110%. Granted, this is when I was 22, 21. So like my frontal lobe is like still developing, and I'm proud of myself for not acting a fool.
Yeah, for sure. I'm proud of you too. And, you know, look how the location sharing meant nothing.
Exactly.
He still was doing what he was doing.
Right. So I, to your point, it's like, okay, someone had my location and like showed up and was like probably somewhere where you weren't doing anything. Right. You were being respectful. Yeah. You were respecting the relationship of whatever y'all had. On the other hand, I had a location, looked at it, and I was like, I'm sorry, where are you?
Yeah.
And showed up, and I was like, yeah, that's wild.
Wow, yeah.
So it's, once again, kind of like that seesaw of like happy medium balance.
Protect yourself, too.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Be proposed to publicly or privately?
Ugh. Can privately have an option for a camera there?
It can. A private camera. Yeah, of course. Oh, goodness. You can have the things, but private. Or would you be someone that enjoyed, let's say, at a restaurant and everyone turns and starts clapping?
That one's a little tough. I can say I don't mind, and I say this humbly, but like I don't mind. I'm not a person who gets like nervous and like awkward in front of a group of people.
Pageant life.
I have to respect it a little bit. It did help. Okay. It did help. That, dancing, and competitive cheerleading, like that all very much so helped. So it's like, sure, but I would prefer like maybe the family as a public setting rather than like in the restaurant.
Yes.
But privately with a camera, because I need the memories, you know?
No, for sure. You're getting the camera. It's just going to be private.
Exactly. Okay. If I get the camera, we need private. Okay. I'll go with that one.
Okay. If I ever know, I'll make sure.
Good. You'll help a sister out.
Yes. I've been married, so I feel like now I would want it to be private.
Yep.
But who knows? I mean, let me find a man first. But
right. That's always the first goal. Well, we always plan everything else. And we're like, wait a minute. We got to go back like 18 steps because we need a man.
It depends on the man, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that too. Okay, here's another would you rather. Be love bombed or breadcrumbed? So I'm learning these things. Okay, breadcrumbed is when they're giving you a little at a time, you know? And then love bomb is just all at once.
Yeah. I can say from experience, I've been love bombed and then had the rug kind of ripped out from under me. Ugh. That was a challenge, especially being who I am. And I feel like others might handle it better. But unfortunately, I do have an anxious attachment style. So that was the love bombing was like unicorn, sunshine, and rainbows.
Yeah.
But what happens with love bombing is it all comes at once and then it all goes away.
Yeah.
And for me, that was extremely challenging to understand. What I'm also learning is that the breadcrumbing, while though it sounds pretty negative, I feel like it's almost kind of healthy.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And it's like breadcrumbs are gonna, I feel like, you know, you look at a piece of bread and it's like you've got a lot to go, right? Whereas like love bombing is just like throwing like everything at you. And then like once it's thrown at you, like there's like no more to give.
Yes.
And it almost like runs out. And that's like really putting a positive spin on breadcrumbs. But like I actually do feel like it's nearly healthy to do so because it's not all at once and then all disappearing, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at that. And also with the love bombing, I know when you get all that love and attention and then when it's just taken from you out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like, what the heck?
Heart-wrenching.
Yeah. Right.
So that's a really great perspective.
Yeah.
Rather be breadcrumbed.
Yes, for sure.
But that doesn't mean you have to do it. You know?
Although, right. And I say yes, rather be breadcrumb, but I would be on the other side of the phone being like, oh, give me more.
Yeah, I'm anxious
I'm gonna
like
be a brat
that too.
And be like, well, where's all my love? Why aren't you obsessed with me?
Yeah, so I love attention too.
It's awful. It's an awful spiral.
I just love. Yeah, it really is. Okay, would you rather date someone like you or the opposite of you?
You know, I've always said if there were two of me, the world would definitely have their hands full. So I'm going to go opposite of me. I think, once again, from experience, I'm a busybody. I work all the time. I'm quite anxious. Thank God for my medication. Lord of mercy, it keeps me going every day.
Lord of mercy.
That in the Bible, it's going to keep me going, okay? But I need actually someone to be like, hey, sit down. And like firmly be like, sit down.
Wow.
And actually have like teetering the line of like almost lazy because of how high strung I am. Now I can't, and I say that lightly because
I know you don't like laziness.
Amen.
I know. Amen.
I hate laziness, and to use such a strong word, but like thoroughly in my bones, in my skin, in my blood. I'm like, I'm sorry, why are you sitting down? Get up, go do something. However, all of that to say, I need someone to be like, Brittany, like you have got to stop. Like you've got to sit down. It doesn't matter if the laundry needs to be done. Like it's going to get done. Who cares? Like sit down. And so I'm confidently going to say I would rather date someone opposite of me for sure.
We are so similar.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I need someone to be the opposite of me. I need someone to chill me out.
Yeah.
That is just exactly not lazy, but just sit there.
Cool, calm, like relaxed. Because I am, while yes, I can relax. Yes, I can coexist. I am not cool, calm, relaxed. I'm like, I'm constantly thinking like, okay, how can I execute something else while I'm like sitting here? I'm like, okay, what text message could I have sent for someone to be doing something while I'm sitting here?
Wow. Okay.
Like, yeah, it's wild. And I definitely think, once again, going back to childhood, like that's all I ever saw my mom do, of like a project was never incomplete. You know, we'd stay up till 2 a.m. like getting things done, and everything would be taken care of prior to us going to bed. Everything had to have a finish line. Yeah. And so I'm nearly conditioned to be like so productive. And I honestly relate a lot of my worth to my productivity, which is awful. To everyone listening, don't do that. it's going to be a toxic spiral that you go down. But it also really feeds into like I can toot my own horn, like a respectful, wonderful work ethic. So it's like, once again, going back, you know, you have to have balance, but there's benefit and also a little bit of negative things that come with it.
And you also want someone to be productive like you. It's not like they're just sitting on the couch while you're doing all these things, but it's the way that they're handling it, the way that they know how to handle you. They know how to chill you out. Yeah. So that is something I am looking forward to. And it definitely takes a strong man. I would definitely say like very emotionally stable, and not getting dysregulated. And I think that that's super important also, because, you know, being with someone who's like, okay, what can we do next? Like, how can we execute? Like all of that, you know, being able to be like, okay, I'll handle it and I'll take care of it. And here's the way it's going to go, you know? And being able to be like, okay, we'll get from point A to point Z, and this is how we'll do it. Just not in a squirrel mentality. You're the delegator.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that. Let's see. Okay, last question. Would you, and this is similar to something you've answered, but fall in love slowly over time or at once and unexpectedly? So different from being love bombed, but just that falling in love, slowly getting to know someone.
I would say this is kind of a tough one, because I see the benefit in definitely falling in love with someone over time. I feel like that would be an example of being like, oh, we were friends, and then, you know, it was always, we talked, like everyone said we needed to date, but we never did. Like, that's beautiful within itself. But I definitely think meeting someone unexpectedly is so amazing, especially in today's society, because it's like you're not looking for it. And I feel like so many people, especially with dating apps and like dating culture, everyone is like hyenas going out being like, okay, where's my man? Where's my girl? You know, and like flipping through, swiping left, swiping right, all of that to be like, okay, where's my person? Where's my person? So I think like maybe option B for sure, of like hitting it off with someone, meeting someone organically and being like, you know what, like I like you a lot, and then going from there. Since I've been divorced, I really haven't done a lot of dating, but I did try and download the apps, and I was just, I have to say, horrified. And so I was really only on it for 48 hours, if so, but just the way that I am, and I could tell you're similar, is I like to check things off my list. And so it just became a whole project in of itself, these apps. I mean, I just like, I had to go through everyone in this state almost. Like, and it was taking me forever, and it was becoming a project and not something I was enjoying. And then I've joked about it with Bill, who runs the studio, but I said, you know, I'm hoping I'm going to meet my man at Lowe's Foods someday. Amen.
You know,
that would be a beautiful place.
I know, right? Don't you love Lowe's Foods?
Lowe's Foods knows it. They know what they're doing.
Right? I love grocery shopping there.
I do too. Love it.
I shout them out so much. Hopefully they'll sponsor one day.
There you go. That's the next goal for the podcast.
Right? But, you know, the days of me just picking my apples and meeting someone, they haven't really happened. So.
Well, the best of luck to you at Lowe's.
Thank you, girl. So I just want to go back to our heart-to-heart interview questions. Now, back on the topic of faith. So maintaining your values while dating can be complicated. What kind of advice do you have for women that are dating in purity?
Okay, so actually my most recent experience, I was actually organically met a guy. And we were like all riding somewhere, all of that. And I was driving. I happened to turn around and I was like, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. And I did. And I turned around and I said, do you believe that Jesus died on the cross for our sins?
No, you didn't.
I promise to God. Within, I'd probably say 6 hours of meeting this guy.
I love you.
6 hours of meeting this guy. I literally was driving in Charlotte. I whipped my head around and I said, do you believe that Jesus died on the cross for our sins? He was sitting in the back seat and perked up and goes, yes, ma'am. And I was like, good answer.
Yes, ma'am.
But I've actually told that, and I've shared that with one of my girlfriends who was actually going out on a date, and she's like, but how do I bring this up? Yeah. And I'm like, simply just like that. Wow. I understand that people are more reserved. I understand that people are more shy than others. And once again, I can talk to a wall. I don't really care. But like, just simply get it over with. Mm-hmm. That does not mean that you will not run into, okay, where are they at with their faith?
Right.
But you want to first identify what is their faith. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a difference of what we forget to do, because it's like, okay, I go on this journey and I start to like this guy, and then I ask the question, where's your faith at? And the last thing that I personally want to do is be like, oh, so you don't even know who Christ is. Which, like you said earlier, to your point of like, you see very quickly, you are going to be able to find out the answer even prior to asking. But I think for a peace of mind, and like, and I'm sure you do as well, date with intention. And it's like, I also think that gives the answer to the man of like, oh, like, yeah, she's not playing around. And of course, you've got the douche canoes out there like, yeah, she's not playing around, but I'm going to play with her. That's a whole journey within itself. But it's like, rip that Band-Aid off. Do it. And then especially with being pure and purity, I've had a lot of women come out of, and like, in my DMs, and they're like, how do you date, and stay pure and all of that? Yeah. And like, I'm trying to do this and I'm trying to do that. And I'm going to say it's hard. However, I also said this on another podcast as well. The show, and I don't care of anybody knowing, but like, the show definitely portrayed me of being a virgin. And I was like, oof. And I have actually, and I'll give this example. I was in church Easter Sunday. This was wild. And I'm like, oh my God, like, do I need to bow down and ask God to forgive me? I'm like so confused.
I'm scared.
I had to use the restroom in the middle of service. I get up and I go use the restroom, and she's like outside of the auditorium, and she sees me and she's like, oh my God, like, I know who you are. Like, hi, it's so nice to meet you. I was like, hey, it's so nice to meet you too. She was like, I just want to let you know that like, I respect you so much. Like, my husband and I also waited until marriage. And I'm like, oh God. I'm like, and
we're going to say to her,
and what am I going to say? I'm like,
in church.
And also too, do I go Instagram live and be like, hey people, I've had sex before? Like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was just in that moment, and I was like, wait, that's so amazing. I was like, congratulations. Like, that's awesome. Like, I wish the best for like y'all and y'all's marriage. And I think that she had mentioned that she was like, yeah, now we have like 2 kids. And I was like, that's perfect. But once again, like, going back to like, we don't see as much and on the show and whatnot, it's like, I'm almost 99.9% sure like covered that like, I don't want to throw him under the bus, but like, respectfully, both of us have experienced that prior to marriage. And I was like, oh dear mercy, like, wow. But knock on wood, that was the worst thing that came out of it. So I am divinely protected.
Yeah, no, you really are. It's not a bad thing. Yeah, and
right.
To be honest, that's what I got from it too.
Yes. And in full transparency, it was kind of like, that was like our story, and that's the way that we were portrayed. We were like the Christian couple of Love is Blind, which is fine. But like, I really have, whenever I've gotten an outlet to speak about it openly and not do the weird, like, let me go Instagram live and talk, just say it bluntly, I have taken the opportunity to be like, look, I don't want anyone to be misled. And like, I want you to hear it directly from my voice.
Yeah.
So all of that to say, with people asking about like, okay, how do I date being pure and like staying pure? Truth be told, I think the best advice is once again, like ripping that Band-Aid off and also having that conversation of like, look, I need to know where you're at around the topic of sex because here's where I'm at. Granted, we're human and, you know, people waver and that's your journey and I'm not your judge. Like, I know who my judge is. Go on it about your own business, but like we read about what to do and what not to do, and that's your choice, right? But I think having that situation and also conversation within dating, it is so important to just like go ahead and have it. Like go ahead and like set that boundary. If one thing leads to another, once again, rip that Band-Aid off when it comes. But having that conversation of like, this is what I want, this is what I need, and this is what I'm determined to do is so respectful and also too respectable. And hopefully that person, your partner, whoever you're speaking to also respects it as well.
Yeah, and thank you for being open and honest. People just need to set the tone, have those conversations in the beginning, you know, what they're trying to stay away from, just so that you can make sure you're not, you know, disappointing anyone's values. And so that is very good to do in the beginning. Now, as far as physicality and things like that, you know, maybe you guys just don't hang out, you know, watching movies all night together. Yeah. There's just other things that you can do. Now that I've been divorced, I am trying to just do anything but kiss. I want to get to know you. Yeah, I want to go on hikes. I want to go to the zoo. I want to do everything other than being alone with you.
Yeah, right. But that's
that's my journey right now.
Exactly. And that's so respectable as well, because it's so common for, which is wild that I'm throwing this out there, but it's so common for like a Netflix and chill. Yeah. So common.
Yeah.
And then I think too, especially I'm sure speaking towards your situation of like, okay, I've been married, I'm now divorced, and you kind of want that like more fun, spunky, like let's go out on a date. And like I've already played respectfully house. Like I want something different. Yes. And it is truly, I think it's so special to like not do that. Just to be like, okay, yeah, you're going to really love me for who I am. You're going to like want to be around me because you want to be in my presence, but like you want to learn my mind and my soul and not just learn my body. Because respectfully, it is so quickly to learn someone's body and be like, oh, okay, I guess. Yeah. You know?
Exactly. And that connection you form with someone is truly real when you're intimate. And, you know, I can get to know someone. I can tell if we're going to have chemistry without
having to go the whole nine. Right.
I can tell when I'm with a guy that we're going to have great chemistry.
Exactly.
And so, and you really nailed that for me. And that is also going to my next question where, I did play wifey. And also, I lived with a man obviously before, well, not obviously, but I lived with a man before I even got married, before I was even engaged. What are your thoughts on when people say, listen, the only way I can get to know someone is by living with them? Yeah. What is your take on that?
Once again, ripping the Band-Aid off here, I struggle with that hard. And me and my mom actually just recently had this conversation about like being taken advantage of like playing house and doing wifey stuff without the ring and all of that. I've actually been in church one Sunday and Pastor T, I go to Vision Church in Charlotte, and he was like, ladies, like, don't give him everything. Like, you don't even have a ring on your finger. And like, I'm sitting there being like, amen. Like, absolutely. You're exactly right. All of that to say, on the other hand, I'm like, okay, but wait. I'm a woman who loves to nurture, who loves to take care, who loves to do acts of service. That is literally how I love. Yeah. What do you mean I'm not supposed to do these things. So I truthfully like struggle with that a lot. A lot. I love to play house. I love to play wifey. I love to do the laundry. I love to clean. I love to cook, like all of those things. And truthfully, I think really, Amanda, it comes down to having someone on the other side who doesn't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Honestly. And that's so challenging to find. And like I said, my mom and I were having this conversation. I'm like, Mom, what do you mean? Like, I don't want to associate negativity around my relationship because I'm doing something in a way that like I'm loving someone. And I was like, I've literally been doing this since I was 15 years old. Going back to the high school boyfriend that I was talking to about, respect to him and his family, excuse me. But they were a family of 6. You best believe every single day I was over there, I was cooking. I was cleaning. I was washing their laundry. Did the stepfather deserve it? Absolutely not. But washing his drawers.
Wow.
Like, I have always done it. And
I see that in you. I can see that you're that type of person.
And once again, I definitely think that like it's so much of my mother in me. And honestly, like respect her and love her, but like I'm not sure it's a super beneficial thing because it's easy for people to take advantage of you. And I've seen plenty of people take advantage of her and her kindness and her love. And so I think as a mother, she's looking out for me being like, well, yeah, because every single boyfriend has taken advantage of it. Boyfriend after that, you know, his family wasn't as big, but I was like, okay, it's family meal day. Let me cook for the whole family. Let me do this. Let me do that. But I've noticed that when communication is there and the guy's frontal lobe is actually developed, you have to find someone who really appreciates it and is like, okay, that's her love language, but like, how can I love her in ways that she needs? And I think at this point, and I've actually just recently had this conversation, if I've got the acknowledgement and the appreciation, I don't mind cooking. Yeah. If I've got the acknowledgement and the appreciation, I don't mind cleaning. If you are going to give me my flowers, even verbally, and just say like, hey, I see this and I notice it and thank you, I will clean from top to bottom, baby. But the second you become quiet, I will retrieve 110%.
Draws are on your own.
Yeah, draws are on your own. Wash them stanky things.
I show my love in that way too, and that's been very hard for me because I don't want to play wifey again until I'm engaged, and that's just what I keep saying. But as you're speaking, I'm saying to myself, yeah, I'm the same way. That is how I show love.
It's such a challenge. It really is, and like especially even being in church and like our pastor being like, "Don't do this." I'm like, what do you mean?
And so you did live with Ken, but you were engaged.
Exactly.
So that, you know, made sense there.
Right. But even then it's like, it was so quick and I wasn't even able to like thoroughly show that side of me because after day 3, I think it was on day 3, I was like, yeah, we got to go home.
Wow. But it was day 3?
Yeah, I think it was day 3 of, you know, coming back to Charlotte and being like, okay, yeah, never mind. But yeah, it's challenging to try and not to do that because also too, I'm definitely the person that is like, oh no, what do you mean? I don't want to be alone. Like I'm going to come over, you know, or like you come here, I go there, you come here. So it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. That one I don't have a lot of hefty advice for.
Yeah.
I'm still working on it myself.
No, I still got some good nuggets out of that. Now, my next question is a little deep.
Yeah, go for it.
So do you have a favorite love story from the Bible?
Ooh, that's a good one, friend. I'm going to be honest. I feel like my knowledge needs to get better with it. Truly.
I love
That's
Ruth.
a phenomenal. Now
Ruth and Boaz.
Okay, I can say now Ruth.
I got some confirmations in the back. Because Ruth was doing her thing. It's a reminder to keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
And then the right man will come along. And she was doing her thing. She was with her stepmom. She was, you know, being family oriented. I'm really breaking it down in my way.
Please.
And then naturally she met Boaz in doing her work.
Yeah.
And That's the one that is my reminder when, I just need to remind myself, keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly. Amen.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think too of what another nugget that I take from church is always show them compassion and always show them Jesus. And that's like a number one thing that I continue to remind myself, especially for women that are dating, looking for a man of God and getting into that relationship with a man that is like, yeah, I believe in Jesus, but my walk is not very strong. And I am a firm believer if you're not that it's our responsibility, and it's actually not. I will say that it is not our responsibility. However, God does tell us, show people Jesus. Like that is your role. It's not completely to, we lose ourselves and we make that our work 24/7, but it is like we are told and commanded, I need you to show me to other people. And I think that that's like a huge thing that I try to take away and try to do of, okay, I hear even like my friends, like even my girlfriends, that like their faith isn't even remotely strong. I continue just to enforce with my behavior and my actions that then show. And it's like, and I've actually seen people become very curious, and I'm like, thank you, God.
Through
God.
the way that you are.
Yes.
And
Yes,
showing
yes, yes.
that.
Yes. But sorry, that was a little tangent, but to Ruth and doing your work, that's something that I try to remind myself of like, okay, don't lose yourself trying to feed into others. So yeah, that one's quite beautiful.
Oh, I'm glad you like that.
Yeah.
We're kind of switching gears here. So where can I meet a man's in South Carolina?
Oh, goodness gracious. I wish you were in Charlotte, because I would definitely say.
I'm going to come.
Please do.
I haven't been to Charleston yet. Can you
Never.
believe it? Everyone tells me I belong there, that I would love it. I haven't even been.
You would certainly love Charleston. I'm there all the time for weddings, just having to do weddings and whatnot. So we'll have to plan something. But you should go to Charleston. You have to have a weekend there if you're in South Carolina for sure. It's beautiful. It's very like almost like a small town European-esque like little place. You feel like you're kind of out of the world when you're there. It's just a place within itself. But where to meet them? I would love to have the answer for that. I feel like I've heard so many horror stories. And once again, like going back to dating apps, knock on wood, I have not yet been on a dating app ever in my life.
Knock on wood.
And I hope it stays that way. Really. Because I've heard just so many horror stories. But I feel like, honestly, going to the points that we were talking about earlier, just it's going to happen organically. And I know that that's like the most unhopeful answer. Because
No, that's very hopeful.
I feel like I personally would love to hear like, no, go to coordinates, this, and this, and you're going to find them right there.
Tell me where, is it on Divine Street? Is it in the Vista? Tell me.
Exactly. But I can tell you this, and my mom has always told me this. She is a Southern woman who loves the Lord. She says, you'll never meet your husband in a bar.
Okay, yeah, I knew that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like,
Mom is right.
But Mom, but what if? And she's like, Brittany, I said what I said. And I said it with my chest. You'll never meet your husband in a bar.
So true.
And I'm like, all right, I guess you're right. So I know where to not go.
Yeah, not the bar.
I know where not to go, the bar. And you know what? I actually met one of my exes in a bar.
Really? Exes,
I sure did.
So,
and he's an ex.
Yeah, there we go.
So, it's you're going to meet them organically, but it's not going to be in a bar.
All right, I'll keep going to Lowe's.
Yeah. You know what? Keep on going to Lowe's, babe. Keep on going to Lowe's.
There's a bar in Lowe's.
There is. Just stay on the bread aisle. We talked about bread earlier. Just stay on the bread aisle.
Produce. Like I love a guy that likes some fresh produce.
There
right?
you go.
So what does a healthy relationship look like to you?
Oh, such a good question. A healthy relationship is communication, 110% communication, trust, and also unconditional. Sometimes a lot of people, they associate unconditional with like, oh, cheating, and then, everything's fine, dandy. Obviously not, dipwit. But like, let's be realistic with ourselves. I think unconditional really speaks towards like, okay, you have a weakness. How can I love you in health to become better? And I've experienced that a lot within dating and relationships of like, I'm not perfect. None of us are. If I'm going to give you grace and loving you in imperfection, then I need that unconditional grace of like, I'm also going to love you in imperfection. But honestly, as the older I've gotten and like getting out of, because I've been in very long-term relationships. I dated one guy for 3.5 years, and I dated another guy on and off for 5.5 years.
That is longevity.
You know, and I'm just 27, and I'm like, yeah, I've had a lot of experience with dating a long time, but never like the casual, like, okay, like let's go out, like let's do this, like the actual dating.
Yeah.
And now that I'm experiencing it, I think that communication is so important. Because I feel like communication and that trust piece, like, okay, if you're communicating with me, I'm not drawing question. If you're communicating with me, I'm not wondering, you know?
Exactly.
So I feel like that is so important to a healthy relationship. And in fact, I actually just saw this husband and wife. I think they had been married for like 37 years at this point. They met organically, randomly, and it was like, oh, we know, rather than that like slow burn. And they said, I feel like the key to a successful marriage is always trying to out-compete the other person by treating them good.
Wow.
And I was like, that's
great advice.
Fantastic. Yeah. I was like, honestly, because even though we're going to fall short, even though we're going to have bad days, and like, I'm certainly a person who believes in 100 mindset, but we all like 100% mindset every day. But there's going to be days where it's 20-80, you know?
Right.
And you still have to love that person through. But like, even in your 20%, can you still try to outdo loving me kindly, loving me to your full extent? And I feel like that was a really, really good piece of advice of being like, yeah, just try to outcompete. You're like, oh, well, how can I take care of that person?
Yeah.
And how can they take care of me? And you'll just meet in the middle, no matter if you're giving 5 and 95, you know?
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Communication, trust, and outcompete. I love
yeah,
that.
for sure.
One of mine is consistency, for sure. Because I can't stand when someone's consistent and then that just stops.
The wishy-washy.
The good morning text and then they stop. You know, just the inconsistencies, that drives me nuts.
Yes, especially being a person who is anxiously attached.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, inconsistency is hard. Which, and also too, it's wrong. And I hate to, and it's like, okay, Brittany, you know, we have bad days. Like people, once again, going back to that 5%, 95%, sure, I get it. You're human. But once again, if you are intentional, it doesn't take that much. Like, it's not going to take anything from your 5% to be consistent.
Yeah.
You might not want to stay on the phone with me for an hour that day, but you can at least say, hey, baby.
Yeah.
I love you. Bye. I'm done. I'm done talking. I don't feel like talking today, but I'm going to let you know I love you, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to wish you a good day, and I'm going to get off the phone. And I think people forget the little effort that it takes just to simply be kind and be respectful and be considerate. And I think that that's the sad part. Like, I was just on a flight the other day, and I was like, I feel like people forget, like, humanity almost. Like, it's not that hard to be a decent human being. And especially in dating, it's people get lazy. And once again, we know what I said about laziness.
Nope. Would you ever date someone on TV?
Oof. You know, I feel like I can't say no. Okay. I feel like that would be so hypocritical of me. Yeah. So truly the answer is yeah. And I don't say yes just to say it would be hypocritical. I wouldn't mind it. I think that I'm a strong enough individual that I would be like, let's go hand in hand. And that's another thing going to relationships. I'm so big about partnership of like, okay, if my right foot is stepping forward, so is your right foot. If my hand's out, so is your hand. Like, we're hand in hand in it together, because biblically, that's how it's supposed to be. And I think that that's super important. So with being on TV, I'd be like, okay, how can we show people like how to do this thing? Because you have so much more of an audience.
Yeah.
And I think more people need to see like success in a relationship. Even myself, like I don't have it all figured out. I'm still searching. My ring finger is still, in fact, not heavy. So, yeah, I mean, but I think that there's beauty in that. And there's beauty in like, okay, how do we do this? And like, let's show people the journey. So, yeah, I would be open to it for sure.
Yeah, because I was thinking guys might be intimidated that you were on TV.
Yeah.
Do they have to be on TV? But then there's also types of people that like to be on TV.
Exactly. And I know a few of them, and I'm like, oh, that was your intention. Got it.
Exactly.
You know? But I think, speaking towards relationships and how we were like, would you date someone opposite of you? Yes, I would. But I think that there's that piece of like, okay, say for instance, I'm dating someone opposite who hates the spotlight. Are you confident enough to say like, okay, I can grab the flashlight or the spotlight and put it on you and still be confident in my masculinity and still be confident in myself of like, especially the jealousy, that for sure, or just the confidence piece. And that's so important to think about, because while yes, I could date someone polar opposite, how confident are you in me having a spotlight? And then especially too with like dating someone not on TV, like how comfortable are you with that? And then on the opposite side of like, okay, we're both on TV or whatever. How are you going to share that? And how is it going to be an us rather than an I? So there's like a lot of pieces to it for sure.
Oh yeah, that's a great answer. And also great point with even when you find someone that is on TV as well, there could be that jealousy there. It's how do we walk together, like you said, side by side, not one is in front of the other. And then just one of my last questions, do you feel either career or love usually have to sacrifice one or the other, being a strong, independent woman, or do you feel like you really can have both?
That's a really good question. And honestly, it makes me reflect a lot. And I've been doing that quite often here lately. I am very guilty of losing myself and putting myself on the back burner for my partner, because I think that I want that love so bad. I want an us so badly that I'm like, okay, you can have it all. And it can just, like, the focal point can just be us. But I see such a detriment in that. And so I say kind of both answers. Yes, in a sense of like your focus and your attention is going to be divided. However, it's so important that you still remain devoted to the things that you love and what make you you. And especially to the right partner is going to say, no, let's steer the other way. Stay right here. I'm going to be right here. Doesn't mean that I'm not here. Doesn't mean because you're at work. Doesn't mean that you're focusing on work that I'm going to waver, become unsteady, become inconsistent. Like, none of that. But I think while yes, of course, you're going to have someone that you've got to burn inside of you, like you want to love, you want to do, you want to spend time with them. It's so important to, of course, give them that attention, but also to still stay devoted to like what is you. And so while yes, you can allow it to happen and allow that kind of like attention piece and more of your time and more of your energy to go to your partner, it's so important not to allow everything to go to the partner, because I'm so guilty of that. And I've seen how it's such a detriment. And excuse me, I think I've learned a lot of times where I'm like, no, I have to put me first in order to even love my partner appropriately. Because if I'm empty, right, I'm not going to love appropriately. Funny enough, I actually just got done telling my mom that because she always takes care of everyone else. And I'm like, you're empty. Quit it.
I love how you can also teach her as much as she's taught you. And that is so true. I've been guilty of the same thing, and it took me years to get myself back into things that I love because I gave up so much for someone. So I'm the same way, but yeah, we do have to remember our purpose first.
Right, exactly.
And then it's not in someone else either. They're an add-on.
Amen.
Yeah.
That it's not in somebody else. I love that.
Yeah, and I don't know where I got this from recently, but saying that they're an add-on, it's not, like I need a partner.
Right,
exactly. We don't really need anyone. It is an addition, so...
In fact, a man needs us, if I must say.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, because who wouldn't? Especially a woman that's cooking, doing laundry.
Well, apparently, biblically, they need an extra rib. So,
right.
I mean, I think ribs are important, but to each their own.
I could talk this all day with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Thank you so much for being honest.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all of your advice. I know so many people are going to get so much out of this. Truly. So just let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So one, thank you for having me. It's been honestly a pleasure and I appreciate it. But you all can find me on Instagram at Brittany Mills 123, and Brittany is spelled respectfully the correct way, Brittany Mills 123. That is my personal Instagram page, and then my beauty page is beauty_by_ Brittany Mills. And yeah, I'm also on TikTok. You can find me there at bmills123. So I look forward to hearing from everybody, and let me know if you listen to the episode.
I have to get on that TikTok train.
Yeah, right.
But thank you for watching this episode of Love Amanda. To submit your love and dating questions, please email submissions at loveamandapodcast.com. Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Love Amanda.